I love this subject about stop tolerating bad managers, but I had a good joke with my videographer when we were thinking about this one, because in his mind, he was thinking top down. How does the C-suite stop tolerating bad managers they have in the ranks? And I had the opposite point of view, which is, how do each of us as leaders in an organization, when you have a bad manager, what do you do about it? I know the traditional idea was go to the human resources department and file a complaint. And if you've ever done that, you know that that's a long drawn out process that can actually produce so much stress for you and everyone around you and rarely ends well. And truthfully, if a bad manager is tolerated for a long time and there isn't some exit plan for that individual, the ripple effect in engagement is very well understood. That's why 19% of the workforce, according to Gallup, are actively disengaged because people leave their boss. They don't leave an organization. All right, now let's talk about what I meant. And I want to talk about three important ideas here. And the first one here is, you are an influencer in the organization, and you get to decide whether you are going to thrive or you're going to leave. It might be invisible to you, but every single day there is a values check going on, usually pretty unconsciously. Let's take an example. If you really enjoy freedom and you want to be given an assignment and then left alone to go get your work done in the way you want to do it, and you have a manager who's looking over your shoulder, you know the word you're using, you're going to call them a micromanager. And if you're not able to resolve it, you're going to exit. And progressively, until you exit, do less and less and less, not allowing your discretionary energy to be used. Well, there is an alternative here. If what you want is freedom, negotiate for it. How does a boss get confidence in you, your skills, your experience, your exercise of sound judgment, thinking ability, your empathy, your compassion, your teaming, your ability to get work done along with others, to be reliable? Do you deliver on time and on budget? These are all elements that any good manager is expecting from the leaders that report to them. And if your leader is not clear about the way you demonstrate this, what are they left? They're left with, I better check up and see what's going on. So, I've been there and done that. I wanted that freedom. And I had to learn that by giving status to my boss, this wasn't about getting a check mark on my report card. This was actually my ticket to freedom. The more informed he was, the easier it was for him to talk on our behalf into the organization. Without information from me regularly and about the things that he cared about, I wasn't going to get the freedom to operate. My freedom came in direct proportion to being responsible to what the expected outcomes were and how we were measuring success. All right, so that's our first point. Here's a second one. Did it occur to you that you don't get up every day thinking about how to make life miserable for people around you? And if that's true for you, it must be true for your boss? Well, it's true. So if someone is behaving in a way that feels emotionally inconsistent and incongruent with the values of the organization or whatever your teaming agreements are, if somebody's behaving out of sorts, that's a place to get curious about, rather than the habit we all have of saying, oh, that person's just a bad manager. Was that always true? Were they always a bad manager? Not likely. Hard to get hired into an organization and make it past your first 3 to 6 months of probation if you can't get along and build a team. So at some point in time, this person was competent and very interested to be there. If you can find that place to be with this upset that you're witnessing and experiencing with that boss with curiosity, you have an opportunity to ensure that you're doing what you can to contribute to that person's needs getting met. What's gotten in the way for them? There might be something going on at home, and they're just having a hard time managing that emotionality. Your ability to be empathetic, to say, hey, what's up? I noticed you were kind of edgy in that last meeting, and I wondered if there was something else going on, because it's just not your nature. The sooner you do that, the sooner you make it possible for them to be vulnerable with you, and ultimately tell the truth and be transparent when any of us are not feeling our best selves and are a little incongruent in the way we're operating. So here's the other one. Third step for you is personal boundaries. I know very early on in my career, one of the things that I thought was a step for success. Part of my formula was I'd work harder than anybody else. I would get to the office early. I would be the last one to leave, and I made sure every project came in on time. Well, there were some consequences to operating that way. My physical well-being, my personal friendships, and I started to be kind of boring. I didn't have a life outside of my work. So when I say personal boundaries, I'm really talking about how are you choosing what you give your attention to, when, and at what level of intensity. Of course, there are always times when we have to put in a little extra effort. We're in a launch of a new product, or the project's just getting started and people are getting to know each other. We need to invest a bit more time in our relationship building, but not at the consequence of destroying our own ability to be fully alert and fully present every day. We must take care of ourselves. This is the oxygen mask coming down from above. Put it on yourself before you put it on someone else so that you're fully resourced. That's the reason why boundary management is so important. And it requires that you spend a bit of time being proactive. A little bit like my example with the value of freedom. I want to negotiate with my boss to say, all right, are we agreed that these 6 things are this quarter's priority? Are we agreed on what the timelines are? Are we agreed on the success measures? What is the way you want to be kept informed? How will you know that we're on track? What do you want from me if we find ourselves off track, to proactively manage the risk associated with that? All of that data that you're collecting helps you identify how to establish some boundaries. And if the truth is you've got 6 kids and you don't want to answer email on the weekend, find out how to not have email come in on the weekend. Ask the question, be courageous, and show up peer-to-peer, adult to adult in that relationship with your manager. As his or her needs get met, you're going to see maybe not a bad manager at all. Maybe just a high bar of expectation, which actually aligns with your own desire to be the best contributor you can be.